Hello, everyone. Welcome to Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano, along with Todd Flesner.
Hello, good to see you all.
Good to see you again. You'll catch us on Channel 26, that's Comcast, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 a.m.
Terrific. We're glad you joined us again. And we've got a guest today that we're going to be talking about something I think that's topical.
What? And you brought the guest, so would you like to introduce?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce folks to Jonathan Gonzales. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you for having us down here. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Well, and Jonathan, you're with Poco Solar.
Yes, so we're Poco Solar, local installer here. It's been around for a while, so yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to hear about. We haven't had a solar company, I don't think, on our show, so this is great.
Yeah, so
super
good. Well, Jonathan, we really like to start off just to be able to introduce folks to our audience, get to know a little bit more about you and your background. So, do you mind sharing with us maybe where you grew up, went to school, kind of where'd you come from?
Yeah, so I came from the fields of Gilroy right there. I'm a garlic clove, so no, I'm a born and raised Gilroy boy, so
Good.
Local here, so just, it's the South County of
Had
Silicon
some
Valley
fires
here,
out there
so.
just recently, didn't they?
We did, yesterday. We had a very, there's always, some that hit those hills because you got the rolling hills all around there.
Right.
Very unfortunate one yesterday, actually. There was actually a couple horses that were injured, so sad to hear that. And, around 4th of July, the other thing is, in South County, it's the only one that allows legal fireworks, and so sometimes you're like, those illegal ones.
So you went to school in Gilroy also?
Went to school in Gilroy, yeah.
Okay.
So I went to school in Gilroy, full on there. After that, I went into actually just kind of more of a people person. It's weird. I started off really shy as a child, which people apparently do not believe at all now. But went into retail from there, and then retail just worked, meeting people just kind of liking how I dealt with interacted with the public.
Okay.
So went from that retail experience to the golf industry, kind of working with like tournaments and in a golf shop.
Nice.
And down in Gilroy again, Eagle Ridge, which is a beautiful golf course. That's where I decided I wanted to learn to golf there. So I was like, why don't I get a job at a golf course, see how that goes. And from there I was kind of picked up by one of the golfers who was like, there's something about you. Would you come work for my solar company? And so that's how it goes. That's how I got here.
Isn't it funny how we fall into things? So I love asking this question though. What obviously you stayed living in the area.
Yes.
What do you like best about living in, say, the Bay Area in general?
The Bay Area, I wouldn't change it for anything. There's a lot of people who, especially when you grow up in a small town, they just want to leave the area. I wouldn't leave the Bay Area for anything. The diversity and the variety and opportunities of things to do is endless. So not just the activities, because we can always drive to the beach. We can take a drive to mountains. We've got hiking here. We've got biking. We got endless food options. An amazing array of.
and speaking, and I want to have Todd to get some of the questions because there's so much on the list. But just to dovetail on the opportunity, I read this morning's newspaper that said we are the 19th largest economy in the world here in the Bay Area.
In Silicon Valley. Wow.
Yeah. So talk about opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was wild.
That's great.
All right, Todd, get ready. Let's go.
You told us a little bit about, you were recruited on the golf course into the solar industry. There's got to be more to that story. What else has gone into it? What's really led to this career?
That was kind of really it. It's funny. It was just, again, it's Poco's a small company. Again, they just have been around since '84.
Okay.
And they were looking to build up at that moment someone to handle their customers. Someone who was good with working with people. Just because apparently it's not an easy skill to talk with customers, to interact with them, to field new customers that have questions or field customers that have concerns. Okay. And so that was pretty much it. They just really thought I was a super nice
well,
guy.
I'm going to dive in here.
Yeah.
Do you do work on residential only or commercial, industrial? What does your company focus on?
So our main focus is residential. We primarily do residential. We're like a full kind of service company, which is kind of a niche here in this area because most people only focus on electric. That's what everyone gets excited about. But we actually can do the thermal, which is what they started out with. electric and also hot water, solar hot water, which is not the biggest, not the best investment at the moment.
Okay.
And the few commercial jobs we do is for pool dough. So we are probably one of the only companies called upon when it comes to commercial solar pool heating projects. So,
Sweet.
Yeah. So.
Okay. For like apartment complexes.
Condo. Yeah. Colleges, athletic centers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we've got Moffett Towers, I think, is one of the local areas over here that their athletic center. We did that installation there.
Nice.
The other one is Santana Row. That's the one that most people recognize. The top of that, they don't realize it because it's really nice and pretty on the bottom. But if you get to the rooftop, there's a bunch of solar panels heating that pool.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
Terrific. So, folks are probably aware, solar and some of the advantages of that. What do you say to folks when they ask you, why should they consider a solar installation for their home?
Yeah, definitely. Our main belief and why we do this and why I am a big proponent of it is because of its environmental benefits. It helps produce energy or source energy that you need from a better source than where PG&E might be getting their energy right now. So that is not from coal, not from oil. We need it obviously here in the States because we're big consumers of energy, but every little bit can change it over there.
And supply, right? It's unlimited supply.
Yes.
The sun. So,
exactly. Yeah. And so that's the main focus. Why I like it, why our company started and wanted to push on it. But the other reason people need to do it is because it saves money. And
long term, won't those other costs of utilities that will go up?
Yes.
I mean, that's not a set, right.
Oh, yeah,
so at least yours ends up being free at some point.
Yes, you have a controlled time frame of when you know what you're paying, and it's not just endless.
Okay, so Poco, you guys do leases? You do own systems, or
we do just owning systems. We don't. We're not a fan of leasing.
Right.
Yeah, just.
I know it's been an issue in selling homes when they're leased. It's just so problematic.
Right.
Or the new buyer's got to qualify for a lease, and it's better that it's owned and the seller. It's a gift, and they sell it.
It's a gift or an add-on.
And it's actually value driven in the home.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah. Well, good. So we talked about advantages. How about how has solar technology evolved and changed here over the years? You've been, as you mentioned, in this business for a long time, so you've probably seen some changes.
Definitely. So when it comes to, again, we always like to separate that there's two types of solar that we do. There's thermal. Okay. Changes in that, honestly, surprisingly, have not changed much since 1969 when FAFCO made the first polymer panel, and everyone laughed and they said, you can't heat water with that, and then they're like, oh, it works. And now you got a bunch of copycats.
Okay.
In the solar electric, that's the one that's been evolving greatly since it started, back in,
I suspect the panels are getting smaller. Maybe they're more condensed and
not necessarily smaller.
Efficient.
More efficient, much more efficient. So it's still a slow process. So it's not like other things that you see where it's like computers, right? You buy a computer today, next month it's kind of old school. It's been a slower process in solar electric, but it is still, in the 10 years I've been in this business, it has changed a good, the things that have changed are efficiency. From what I've seen when I first started, has gone up about like 25 to 30% more efficient, which means same size frame just produces that much more power.
Okay.
And also the cost in that same frame has maybe gone like about 25% less.
And you just stole my thunder. I was just going to talk about the cost effective. So you can, actually, just like other electronics, like a phone, TVs, everything has gotten cheaper. Is that the same with the solar industry?
Yes, kind of, in a sense. Definitely for what you're getting for it, it has. There's still, though, just like you mentioned, phones, there's still the iPhones out there that, back in the day, our flip phones used to be like $300, and a flip phone has gone down now, but an iPhone has gone up. Yeah. So there's still that some of increases, but for what you're getting, like the efficiency and quality, it's definitely a lot more affordable and more attainable. It's not a luxury like it used to be.
All right, so you've got the panels that collect the solar energy, but you also have inverters. How have those changed in the course of time?
Oh my gosh, the inverters have done a big number of improvements. So they have also worked on their efficiency, because after you get the DC current in from the panels and convert it into the inverter, that was another portion where when it gets that turned into AC power for use in the home, you do have loss. It just happens, just like anything while it's converting. But recently, I don't have the stats on the percentage now, but they have improved dramatically. And they have so many added features. One of the main ones we use right now, brand-wise, is Solar Edge. So we skipped over what was called the microinverter phase that happened about 5 years ago. We just weren't fans of how it was looking, and we're a cautious company. We're a small company, so we can't just say, hey, that's a new thing, try it. It's like, no, let's let it see how it's going to play out, because what if it tanks? Our company's going to tank.
Right.
So, they got more efficient. The monitoring on it is great. We get to provide a way more detailed view for our customers because of the inverters that are made now.
So it sounds like these are things that make your company different than other companies. Is that correct?
So in that equipment, we're not the only ones who can do it. So there's a lot of companies that do that as well.
Okay.
The main thing that makes us different is how we use it and how we apply it, and in our design for our customer. So one thing, even though company B and C can also have the same inverter and panels, they just choose to design differently or provide differently and install differently.
Okay. So what's an example of how you might design differently than another company?
So one thing I can tell you, there's some homes, like some people have Eichlers, which we're really big in the Bay Area, as you know. There's some companies that'll just be like, Eichlers, just don't want to deal with it. Too much hassle. And we're going to be like, well, let us look at it. So we'll find out what we can do. When there's really fragile tiled roofs, Spanish tile, there's people in the Bay Area that do have that.
Okay.
Most people go away. We'll say, let us look at it first.
Okay.
There'll be people that want to have solar pool heating and solar electric. So most companies will say, nope, you need to put solar electric right here and this only. We're the company that'll say, well, let us redesign it. Okay, we can put a design that'll work for, pool heating or aesthetics. Maybe they just say, even though this works best, we don't want it here. So we'll say, okay, let us go through the extra work to find out if we did it to your specs to make you happy, what would you get, and this should be your expectation. So we'll say, this is what you'll get. If you're okay with that, then let's do this. And if you don't, and most other companies will just say, our way or the highway.
Okay, let's put on the homeowner's hat from that side. So I'm thinking, I'm a homeowner. I'm thinking about solar. What are the things I need to be thinking about? How do I make that decision that I want to go solar?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So you're going to be looking at feasibility for solar is what your usage is. If you just happen to be really good and really frugal with your energy consumption, like you have all LEDs, just super efficient. You flip that light off when you leave the room. You don't have teenagers in the house. If it's really low, it still works, but the payback goes a little longer. But anytime our average customer we see are like paying $200 to $500 a month PG&E. So that's the first one where you could save.
Okay.
Second, if you're going to be looking in, like you just had that interest and you want to know, is solar right for me? Also consider your roof. What condition is your roof in? Is it going to be coming up on end of life soon where it's going to need to get changed out?
And then that would be the good time to do the solar.
That would be the good time.
Okay,
yes.
hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
That would make sense.
And that's another thing that maybe we do a little differently when we get out and someone's going to do it and we're like, by the way, have you looked at your roof? And they'll be like, I didn't. It's like, yeah, you should probably do that first. As much as we like the business, sometimes we're like, it's not the right thing to do.
Okay.
You need to handle some other stuff first.
Okay. Good. What are some of the challenges that you face in your work?
The challenges. Oh, geez. The challenges is getting over this image of solar still nowadays. So right now, solar is the hot ticket. Like you said, it's very relevant. Everyone's about it. You go to Costco, you go to Home Depot, you get you just open your front door, you
Yeah.
you answer your phone,
Yeah, I
right?
get the phone calls too, yes.
So you get all these people promising some crazy deals
Yeah.
and misrepresenting themselves.
Yeah.
Even when they had the whole Solyndra
Right.
incident, people thought, oh, see, solar is bad. It's like, no, there's that was a different portion of it. There's different people, just like anything, right? So it's getting over that hump of who we are, saying we've been around a while. Solar does work. It's not just a scam. I come across, there's trolls out there on the internet nowadays, so I try not to engage much, but you get those people saying, it doesn't work, it's such a scam, it doesn't even produce, and I'm like, no, it really does. I have 12,000 customers in our database that say solar works for me, and they're continued customers, so.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Well, Jonathan, I love this question. What do you like most? What are the rewards you get from your job?
The rewards I get from my job. So again, the reward, as corny as it sounds, I feel every install we do is just making, even though it might be a little tiny impact, it's an impact on the environment.
Wow.
So that is my main reason of moving forward with it. And then occasionally we get those extra calls where someone's like, oh my gosh, I just got my first bill for the year, and it was like $80. This is the coolest thing. Not too many people go out of their way to do those calls, but there's that. Or you get the grandma who also finally has her pool warmed by solar. And she says, I had a party and the kids are over here all the time, and it's like, again, not too many people go out of their way, but there's a few of them that, they write us a letter, I'm like, oh wow. And so when I hear them, I'm like, look at that, it made a difference.
What an impact on people's lives,
Yeah, absolutely. How about the future? Where do you see things in the future for yourself, some goals?
For myself, well, definitely, I like just dealing with people, maybe just always saying something where it's impactful. That's my own personal kind of boundaries that I've set for myself. Everything that I do has to have some kind of impact. So it's not just for monetary value. Whether I stay in solar, a little bit longer as it goes and progresses and gets more efficient, more affordable. There's some great places in solar that are just doing nonprofit work. Solar can really change the world too, not just here, but after it expands out globally, there's places that can't have power lines that don't have the infrastructure.
Right.
Solar can do that. But even if it's not in solar, my goal is just to be helping out with something,
awesome.
Families, kids, something that's going to make a brighter future. And that's what solar does right now for me. So
Great.
Terrific.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you and this evolving technology and everything that solar has to do. Thank you so much for taking the time to come.
Thank you for
the
the questions.
we appreciate having you, Jonathan. And again, if folks want to get more information about solar, have questions, how it might work for them, how might they contact you?
So easy. You can go to you can call us direct. You can call me at Poco Solar, which is 408-970-0680. That's our main line. But also we have, our website, pocosolar.com. We have live chat available on there occasionally when me or one of my coworkers has time to open it up and say, hey, we're open to, juggle. We're on social media, Twitter, Instagram, to see what some of our installs look like. And so that's the best way to reach us out.
Great.
Terrific. Again, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a pelican? Does this look like your house? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you use your feet as fishing hooks? Are you your own boat? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... That's the one. Do you want this in your favorite lake? Yuck, yike. No thanks, mister. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Debbie Indahar Giordano and Todd Flesner.
Hello.
Hello there. We are going to do a little wrap-up here. We're in June, but we're going to wrap up for the month of, we're wrapping up for June. I've got May statistics.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I had an open house on Sunday. Traffic flow was about 20 to 25 through the house. Typically, I would have had about 50.
Okay,
So
I was going to say, that sounds like that's a little bit less than
a
this
little bit
bit.
like quite a lighter deal. But the
It's
good
Father's
news-
Day, though.
Father's Day, that's part of it. But the good news is it only takes one offer, one great offer.
Right.
And I think we've been used to so many, 5, 10, 15 offers that we've gotten spoiled. And we're not in that kind of a market, but we're still in a strong seller's market.
Okay. So starting to even out a little bit, but still a great market to sell in.
Still a great market to sell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrific. And I'm starting to sense that as well from others I've talked with, that there's a little bit more property that's now coming onto the market,
Right.
so there's a little bit more selection for people, and
Right.
so that will take some of the pressure off those multiple offer sort of situations.
Correct. And rising interest rates, yes?
Well, the big news this last week is the Fed raised interest rates again. Again, that's short-term rates. The Fed's discount rate, which impacts the prime rate, it impacts credit card rates, doesn't necessarily directly impact long-term mortgage rates. In fact, mortgage rates have held pretty solid through this period of time. We've not seen those bump up. And we've talked before on the show that there are a lot of other dynamics in that market that influence long-term rates versus short-term rates.
Okay.
Now, that said, we anticipate the Fed's going to raise rates again a couple more times this year. It looks like we have some headwind in our not headwind, but some momentum with the economy right now.
Jobs are good.
Jobs are good. Inflation rate is starting to pick up a little bit, and as inflation starts to pick up, we're getting closer to the Fed's target of 2%.
Is that
inflation.
Q4? What is that you call it?
Well, we had QE, we had call it quantitative easing, we've had all sorts of stuff. And we are unraveling that, the repurchase program that the Fed's had of mortgage bonds. We're getting to a more normalized sort of market in terms of mortgage bonds.
Okay.
Right? So I anticipate
So you're
that-
still pre-qualifying folks?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You have a pool of buyers that are ready, willing, and able to get out there and get a home, huh?
We do. I'm seeing more and more first-time home buyers. We have more and more special programs just for first-time home buyers to help with the major challenge here of real estate in the Bay Area. We know we have high prices. We also have folks who make good earnings, right? And so sometimes it's chasing that down payment. So we've developed some special low down payment programs to help overcome that number one challenge of buying a home.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, you want to look at what the numbers look like in
Yeah,
Milpitas?
let's talk about it.
Okay, May 2017, we were looking at an average price for single-family home of $1,057,000, and that jumped up to last month of $1,291,000.
Okay.
So a good, 200,000 bump over the year. So
Okay.
that makes sense. And then the median price jumped from $992,000 to $1,238,000.
Okay.
So very good. Condo market, actually. Oh, this is interesting. So it jumped from May of a year ago from 729 to $1,064,000.
Wow.
$1,064,000 for a condo.
For a condo.
Yeah.
Do you have there what the volume of sales was to lead to that?
21 sales
21.
last year, 20 sales this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then it jumped from 820,000 to $1,090,000. So that's a good 250 jump,
Right.
right along with the single family home market. I'll
Okay.
be darned.
Well, we've known that over this last year that it's been a real seller's market. Prices have been appreciating, and those numbers really point that out.
Definitely point that out.
Yeah.
So I've got a number of listings I'm putting on, and I'm very careful where I'm pricing the properties.
Okay.
So we don't overprice and make sure we're not out of the fringe of what the market will bear.
Okay.
Sellers will get their price, but you can't overprice right now.
Okay. Well, like you said, the foot traffic's down a little bit, but
It's down.
still good demand. I
Still
think.
good demand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
good. if folks are out looking for property or have interest in what's going on in the real estate market, how do they get in touch with you?
My email is giordanodj@aol.com or phone number 408-945-8988. And you, Todd?
T. Flesner at opusadvisors.com or cell phones 408-921-0669. Welcome your questions.
Absolutely. Same here. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those on the show or get back to you. Thank you very much for watching Valley Homes on TV. We'll see you next month.
See you next time.